Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to day 10 of the Sajdah Deca Fest. And today we are talking about evolution. And we're going to talk about what we're going to do tomorrow for our big celebration. Like, subscribe, grab your coffee, and I'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes. See you on the other side.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. Welcome to day 10 of DecaFest. Um, this is our first year of doing this 10-year celebration that begins on my physical birth anniversary and ends on my spiritual birth anniversary. And it's just a 10-day time period for us to reflect and to celebrate our evolution um, to accepting our own and being ourselves. And so I wanted day 10 to talk about evolution so that on the actual day that I got my ex, we can all celebrate, right? The day that we got our ex, but we could also just make it a celebration. These other days, we're learning, we're growing, we're evolving, hopefully, sharing, reflecting, and recommitting, right? To first loving ourselves and accepting our own and being ourselves. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about evolution. Evolution. Evolution is an interesting topic, and I think it's important for us to revisit evolution um, often, right? Because sometimes we get into a very fixed mindset. Some of us are very routine driven and everything's very fixed. And so the idea of having and maintaining a growth mindset and embracing growth processes is one that has to be very intentional. Okay. A person that has a fixed mindset sometimes is often stuck in the past. Okay. They tend to celebrate past accomplishments and they stay stuck there. And so you'll see them with all their trophies and all their awards, and they're like, this is what I'm celebrating. And so I'm just stuck right here because I'm looking back, celebrating that stuff. But one of the things that I try to do is any accomplishment that I've ever had, any knowledge that I've had, any wisdom, anything like that, I try my very best to share it because I don't believe that it was for vanity purposes. I got an award last week. They said it was Entrepreneur of the Year. My thing is, I just got to share more. I have to share more. Whatever's inside of me that made these people recognize me in a certain capacity is for me to give and to share, and not for me to take and just sit up on the shelf and look at it like I'm a trophy. So one of my growth mindset techniques is to give and share from the experiences that I have and that I continue to have. And so I'm so addicted to the continued experiences that I'm always trying to figure out different things that I can do so that I can enhance and expand and do more. So when I see a new spiritual gift come in or some beautiful, amazing download or interaction, I'm just like, oh, yes, I want more of that. I want more of that. And so I try to share it and be of service. That is a growth mindset. Um, a growth mindset is also one that looks at problems as a way to expand and grow. If you find that you're stuck, let's say you go, well, you know what, I'm not growing in my relationship the way I would want to, or the relationship feels a little stagnant, or I'm not bringing in the income or the revenue that I want to. I feel like I'm on a hamster wheel. Then the idea is to go inside of yourself, study yourself, and commission that great mammary gland, as the minister talked about yesterday, or we showed the video where the minister talked about on the show yesterday, pulling on that and and asking for guidance, but then looking inside of yourself to figure out where's the expansion opportunity, where's the opportunity for growth, where's the opportunity to learn, where are the opportunities that is going to keep you on a growth trajectory. Setting new goals for yourself. Evolving, doing something new. When you see different experiences that are in front of you and you're going through different experiences and you have different stimuli that come to you, asking yourself, what is this here to teach me? What is this here to show me? How can I go deeper into and accelerate my evolutionary process of alignment with Allah? How do I do that? Because I always want to say, okay, if I have a gift right now, if I feel like there's something from a soul level, something on a spiritual level, something on a divine level that I see starting to develop in me, then the first thing I do is say, oh, Allah, thank you. Thank you so much. How can I learn more? How can I do more? How can I be more of service? So let's put this definition of evolution up here, because as humans, we want to have evolved. As spiritual people, we want to have evolved. Evolution is a biological process that describes how the characteristics of a species change over time. It's based on the idea that all species are related and have gradually changed over time. That is so deep and so spiritual. So deep and so spiritual. A biological process. So the question becomes, when we start asking these things in our mind, how can I learn more? How can I be more in alignment? How can I figure out what inside of myself needs work, needs attention? What darkness inside of myself do I need to shine light on? You know, when you start working on that and turning inward, a biological process begins to happen. You see, your cellular structure begins to change. Even your environment may change, whether you change the environment or the environment changes because you've changed. Your environment has an imprint on you. Where you live, what you do for a living, how you move and navigate through the world impacts your DNA. So there's a biological process that you want to kick off with your mind by refocusing and focusing in another direction. This is why when we fall spiritually, when we fall and make mistakes that don't represent who we are, it's interesting because a lot of times we don't really notice it. We don't notice that we're about to fall or we're on our way to falling, because our environment and the way we see things begins to morph around us. And as it morphs around us, then our ego kicks in some deceptive intelligence that makes us think it's okay, or I got an excuse, or there's a reason, or it makes sense, right? Interesting stuff. It's based on the ideas. Oh, it says a biological process that describes how the characteristics of a species change over time. We talked about that through our thoughts, our behaviors, our study. Let me tell you something. The living word of Almighty God Allah, when you get into this type of study here, the Holy Quran, it changes. Every time you could take the same verse and read that same verse every single day. And every single day, something else from the spirit of that word is going to rise up to meet your circumstance, and it's going to appear to have a different meaning every single time. That's why during Ramadan, we read the Holy Quran cover to cover every year. And every year I come across something and that it's almost like I don't remember, like I've never read it before, or it just hits different. Okay. So that's also a growth process. Okay. Nursing on the word, nursing on your supreme wisdom. You can look at your supreme wisdom. We're going to talk about um, that recitation process a little bit tomorrow during celebration. But you could pick up that book today and read something, and then tomorrow see something totally different. I have notes from when I was going through the study guides back in the early 2000s, late 90s. And my mindset is interesting. And what I got out of it is different than how I see it today because of, thank Allah, my evolution. Um, Same thing with, I have a notebook where I was just going through the Supreme Wisdom book. And in going through that book, I was making notes. And in making those notes, I started looking at, like, wow, it's interesting to take a look at where my mind was then. And sometimes when you look back at those notes, you see how maybe you've forgotten some stuff, or maybe you've regressed. It also, the second part of that definition says it's based on the idea that all species are related and have gradually changed over time. If something doesn't change over time, then it's not living. We live in a world where the earth is moving, it's revolving just like this around the sun. It's rotating on its axis and then it's revolving around the sun, right? It's pulsating. Boom, 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 boom. Our heart mimics the pulsation of the earth. The entire universe is pulsating. So there's always movement. Everything is on a frequency. So nothing is actually stagnant. Everything has some type of vibratory movement. So it makes sense when we hear, as we talked about a couple days ago, that in the Holy Quran it says, Allah says, take one step towards me and I will come at you flying. Because when you take that step towards him and closer into that alignment, that pulsation and all that movement will just scoop you up. And if you completely keep taking steps and realize that you're surrendering, you will find yourself flying through evolutionary developments in your life. This is why somebody can look at you and say, man, we started out together. How did you grow by leaps and bounds? It's all about that step, right? So before I show our first video, shout out to everyone in the chat. Assalamu alaikum, owner financing real estate and land. Robert 11X is in here. All praises due to Allah. Welcome, brother. Brother Lamont says, good morning, assalamu alaikum, and happy Sunday. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, brother Robert 11X. He says, I'm staying on your Facebook page so I can share to more places. Everyone, please share. Sharing is caring. I like that. That is so true. And our regional sky girl is here. She says, assalamu alaikum, family. Praying that everyone here is thriving during this time of confusion. Thank you, Sister Sajdah, for being a beacon of light. Al-Nura, thank you. Helping to navigate through darkness. Yes. Navigating through darkness is simply just, you just need a flashlight, right? When the lights go out, you just need your flashlight. And you need a powerful flashlight. And so these teachings are a powerful flashlight. You can illuminate so much. And all the stuff that's in darkness, a lot of times, does not want you to be walking through there with your flashlight. Okay? And who else we got? I saw Sister Aurelia here. She said, Grand Rising to all conscious entrepreneurs and those flying the friendly skies. Ajit Deza says, material world is a place for miseries and it is also temporary. That's from the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. I could say a lot about that, but thank you for that comment and thank you for your contribution. Okay, so I want to talk about this. As we're evolving, we are going to experience what some people in this world will call failures. We're going to experience falls. And when I think about it from a frequency standpoint, and I think about how we're all kind of just riding this wave of development, you know, sometimes we hit that curb and we fall off. Sometimes we're on the backside of that evolution and we fall down. And so this is a quick 1.5 minute clip where Michael Jordan is talking about his evolution. And before we move into this next phase, I just want you all to think about this in terms of yourself and your own personal growth and development.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
Good! The game's over, and the Bulls have won. Jordan beat him at the buzzer with a jump shot in the circle.
Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I led you to believe it was easy when it wasn't. Maybe I made you think my highlights started at the free throw line and not in the gym. Maybe I made you think that every shot I took was a game winner. That my game was built on flash and not fire. Maybe it's my fault that you didn't see that failure gave me strength, that my pain was my motivation. Maybe I led you to believe that basketball was a God-given gift and not something I worked for every single day of my life. Maybe I destroyed the game. Or maybe you're just making excuses.
That's very, very powerful to me. And I wanted to play that because a lot of us are sitting in the pocket of what we are calling failure. We're sitting in the pocket of stagnation. We're sitting in the pocket of lack of growth. And the idea here is to play the numbers game, to get back up. If you fall 7 times, you got to get back up 8 times. If you're sitting in that pocket and you feel like, man, I'm falling and I can't get up, you got to find a way to get up. Get on your knees. Lean into it. Pull up on something, but you got to find a way to get up. And you have to understand that oftentimes, it takes a number of times before you figure it out. You see Michael Jordan talking about how many times he failed. He also talked about practice and how every time he failed, he went back into himself. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Betty, I see you. Yes, got to get up. Often went back into himself to figure out, how do I improve? This is why we get a coach. This is why we get a counselor. This is why we have a minister. This is why we nurse on podcasts like these, Why? Because as we're going through life, woo, sorry. As we're going through life, we need somebody to show us, tweak this a little bit. I always use the analogy, if you're playing tennis and you keep hitting the ball in the net and you got a coach that's watching your stroke and says, you know what it is? You're not bending your knees enough. You're not getting up under the ball. And then you go, okay, got it. So that's what these types of podcasts and these courses are designed to do, to give you that tweak. And then you go back out and you do it again. That's evolution. That's how you grow. And then you're ready for the next level. So once you get to that next level, then guess what's going to happen? God's going to put into you a desire to go to the very next level. And in order to get to that very next level, you're going to have to do what? Go inside of yourself again. Practice, fall, get up. Okay? Some of us fall harder than others because maybe we don't learn the lesson. Maybe we don't embrace the word or the message that comes to us. And so we fall hard. Or maybe we've engaged in deviant behavior for a very consistent period of time. Or just maybe we started mimicking the behavior of somebody else because we saw them get away with it. But then Allah didn't let us get away with it. Think about that. I learned this in college. This is so funny. So when I graduated from high school, I wanted to go to Stanford. And Stanford, of course, as you know, is super, super expensive. And it wasn't like where it is today, where they give away a lot of money and people just kind of go for free. I was in a very competitive environment in the school that I went to. And I got scholarships, but I didn't necessarily get enough to go to Stanford. But I got to tell it, but I'm going to tell it before somebody else tell it, because my former business partner thinks this is hilarious. I got enough to go to Howard. But I remember my mother was excited about Howard and the thought of a Black HBCU, but I wasn't raised in an environment where I was prepared to handle an HBCU. So when I went to my visit to Howard, I actually tried to go there twice, for undergraduate and for graduate school. When we came up on campus, now I'm a nerd, and instead of showing us like the academics and the coursework, y'all know I was into my international finance thing. I wanted to be an ambassador. I wanted to work, in that capacity in some way. And I felt myself always sort of as a soul guide, and I wanted to just be an ambassador, guide people in that area. It's interesting because I ended up getting a chance to do that. Even when I first came to the nation, I became the orientation teacher in Indianapolis for a little while, and then in Chicago for 7 years. And so just guiding souls to accepting their own and into the nation was one of the greatest loves of my life. And then over time, even now with the home, being a residential house museum, but being a ambassadorship, if you will, to the history that was made in the home is, again, something that I love. So it's kind of something that's been in my vibration that I didn't really explore a lot, but it was what I wanted. And And so when I went on that visit to Howard, instead of them showing us academic things, they took us to parties. So remember, I'm a senior, but I'm also a young senior because I'm younger than everybody else in my grade. And I'm a little green because I'm from Nebraska. And this whole, thing about how they was living and everybody coming down from New York and, oh, what's up, son? And all this. I just was like, whoa, I don't think I can do this. And so by that time I had missed the deadline to go to Stanford. And so the money that I could have used to go to an HBCU didn't all transfer. So a lot of the scholarships I would have been short. So I was either going to I looked at 3 schools: University of Colorado at Denver, Iowa State University, and University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana. And but I was going to be out of state in all of those, and I knew that I was going to have to pay, but I was willing. The spirit was in me. I was so bent on not going to Howard that I was like, I'll just pay for it. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was just like, something is telling me to do this. Now, those schools, those Midwestern schools, at that time, even now, those are your geek making schools. That's where you go to get that technical training to be a really good employee and get a really, really good job. So people see those kind of schools on your resume, especially if you're majoring in accounting or finance. That those are big schools for that. They have University of Colorado and University U of I was big for accounting and finance at that time. Iowa State was the Iowa State School of Science and Technology. So Iowa State, even though I had an accounting and finance emphasis, it was very technical, more so than the general business aspect that I would have gotten at the University of Colorado or at University of Illinois. So Iowa State's known for its science, its technology. We got the Carver School of Business, but in comparison to these other schools at that time, it was just different. Everything was technical. So a lot of quantitative analysis, a lot of statistics, a lot of very technical type of work. But I let somebody, a counselor, talk me into majoring in engineering. So when I first went to school, I majored in computer engineering. And I had actually sat down with the counselor and said I either wanted to be a businesswoman, I still wanted to be a mogul, but if I had to take a class or take classes, maybe I could be a doctor in psychology. And she talked me into going into computer engineering. And I was like, I'll do it. This is me not understanding that I am a very layered person, a lot of layered. I'm not a single dimensional person. And so if you meet me, you just kind of got to know that about me, whether it's art, engineering, science, healthcare, accounting. It's just different vibrations for me, but I can get into all of it. And when I went there, I did okay in the engineering program, but I hated it my first internship. But the process of failing, of not knowing what you're going to do, of finding myself, understanding those layers, understanding that it really didn't matter to me whether I became a doctor in psychology, a computer engineer, an accountant, a finance person, or a person with a master's in quantitative analysis, or it didn't matter to me because I could see how I could use all of that for this ambassadorship energy that I was going towards. And so, as I mentioned yesterday, that week before getting my ex, I had gotten accepted into an international finance program in France. I mean, the ink wasn't even dry on the letter, but the ambassadorship stuff was just different. It was a different twist on it than what I thought. Why am I saying all of that? I'm saying that because as you're evolving, as you're exploring yourself, as you're navigating and you're learning yourself, you're going to fail. You're going to fall. You're going to get confused. But you got to keep growing and keep elevating, keep going inside of yourself, finding yourself, studying yourself, keep nursing on that mammary gland of the universe, keep nursing, keep pulling. We have to keep going. We have to keep getting up. That's why I'm saying all of that. So in that process, it sounds very pretty and very spiritual and very evolutionary now, but at the time, it was a lot of confusion. And when we live in a world where the old school mentality is you need to pick something, stick to it, and do it. This is why a lot of people, especially a lot of younger people, are depressed, because I think only probably 20% of the people, I just read a statistic the other day, 20% of the people who are out here in the workforce are doing what they went to college to do, or what they set out to do when they left home. Only 20%. You got people with master's degrees and PhDs who come home and work at Starbucks. Not hating on working on Starbucks, but if that ain't what you planned on doing, that's a problem. And so you got to figure out, how do I put this wisdom and knowledge to the test? And what I learned very, very early on is that I did not want to be locked into a profession per se, which is one of the reasons why I went into auditing and ultimately business consulting. It's one of the reasons why I loved working for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because we got to do so many different things. And so as a consultant, I loved it because it allowed me to be able to go in and out a number of different companies. I probably have seen the inner workings of more companies than most people will see in a lifetime. I may have seen that in a year. And so over the years of doing it, you just develop this muscle. And it's tying into me wanting to be an ambassador. Just kind of knowing things, knowing people, putting things together, but being that kind of ambassador that helps people to elevate. Now, while those of us that are over here growing and evolving and rising and falling, there are those of us on the other side who are talking smack, who are being negative about people. Somebody fall down, we put our foot on their neck. Somebody get in a bad situation and we try to figure out how we can crush them, how we can hurt them. We can't wait to get in a position where we feel like we better than somebody. Look, you can have people that got dormant hate for you all their lives, and then all of a sudden you need some help and they can't wait to put their foot on your neck. You got those kind of people. We got something for you. And many of you have seen this. The minister has given these beautiful words, and it's often quoted on the internet. It's a quick short. I'm just going to play it for you. I'm going to play it for you. If you that kind of person that loves to feel dominant. When somebody is going through something, this is for you.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation, nor from the weakness that will cause us to stumble and fall. When you laugh at somebody else's fall, white or black, rich or poor, your enemy or your friend, you are laughing and opening a way for your own demise when you do that. Because to laugh and not learn, to make mockery and not to understand, is to make the same mistake yourself.
Let me wrap this up. I'm going to leave that right there because the minister is so perfect in his words. Evolution. To evolve, to grow, and not stay the same. To focus on growth techniques, growth-minded processes, to have a growth mindset, to study and learn and read materials and data and stimuli that's going to help you to grow and to nurse on that should be our goal. To nurse on the living word, on our supreme wisdom, on and looking for Allah in everything and everywhere, and just studying, looking for him, celebrating, helping us to develop that growth mindset. And when you get so addicted to growth, you ain't got time to be laughing at nobody. You don't have time to be looking down on anybody. You see every opportunity as an opportunity to grow, to develop, to learn, to expand. And you really will get yourself to the point where you care less about what anybody else is doing. Sister Aurelia said, loving that clip of Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. When was the lecture done? You know what? I don't know, and I will find out for you. I do this thing sometimes where I'm binging on lectures and I forget. I don't pay attention oftentimes what year and where. But I'll definitely see if I can find out for you, sis. Any other questions before we go? Thank you all who have given love offerings. We know we're in a habit of giving. You can Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, or Zelle, wendy100m@gmail.com. Peace and blessings to everyone. Brother Robert 11X Minor says, your knowledge and wisdom is a growth mindset. All praises due to Allah. All praises due to Allah. I want to be his ambassador. I want to be his conduit. And so whatever I can do to help anyone get closer to him or to him, that makes me happy. Yes, Sister Aurelia, it was done at the Final Call building. It does look like the 80s, but I can't tell you exactly when or the name of the lecture, but I can find out, inshallah. Okay, anyway, thank you all. This is Ambassador Sajdah for the Sunday morning. Make sure you either go to your lecture in your near city or tune in, NOI.org this morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. All right, family, love you all, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's our grand finale. When we do it physically, I'm hoping that day on September 9th, we can just have a big celebration where everybody just celebrates the gift of being able to accept your own and be yourself and officially write that letter and make that recitation. Thank you, Brother Lamont. He said, thank you again. Have a great Sunday. Ambassador Sajdah. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Brother Robert, for putting that up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. May Allah bless each and every one of us. There you go, NOI.org, tune in. All right, family, love you all. Peace and blessings. And inshallah, we will see you tomorrow morning.